Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is August 13th, 2024. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located in CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a CBRN-related attack, a DEFCON level event, an attack and an invasion of Israel and/or Iran and/or World War III by the date of August 22nd, 2024, which is the final day of the DNC convention in Chicago, Illinois, on August 19th through the 22nd. So, in short, the CIA is planning on staging World War III just prior to and during the prime time DNC event in Chicago. So exactly how the CIA plans to achieve this objective is obviously not known, but it appears that they will stage a fifth assassination targeting Iran or Hamas, which will then subsequently trigger a tit-for-tat escalation resulting in World War III. So just to recap, this particular assassination war started back on January 3rd of 2021 when the IRGC General Qassem Soleimani was assassinated by a drone strike at Baghdad International Airport. More recently, on May 19th of 2024, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi was assassinated via helicopter crash in eastern Iran. Then on July 31st, 2024, Hamas Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran, Iran, while attending the funeral for the aforementioned Raisi. And then most recently on August 9th, Hamas leader Samir al-Hajj was assassinated in Lebanon. So we have essentially 4 assassinations. We're going to a 5th. And if you are familiar with Jewish symbology, you know that the hand with the eyeball inside of it is called the Hamza hand. And that is because the 5th assassination that is pending, which will likely happen just prior to or during the National Convention in Chicago, will trigger World War III. So exactly which Iranian or Hamas leader the CIA will assassinate is obviously not known, but starting with the most likely is Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. He's like the supposed mastermind of the Iranian terror regime. Second is Hamas President Yahya Sinwar, with a last name like Sinwar. Obviously, that's to foreshadow war being declared in the aftermath of his assassination. And then we have current Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, who is coincidentally meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin today, August 13th, 2024, in Moscow, Russia, which I'll get into in a minute. And then we have former Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. And then we have former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who is basically the grandfather of Iran's nuclear program. And so essentially, we have the 5th assassination is basically designed to trigger World War III. And so I'm going to lay out exactly what's going to happen, and it's going to be pretty close to this. So it's basically, if you look at the Israeli flag, it has 6 points on it. And these 6 points are because these are 6 steps, if you will, that will trigger World War III. So firstly, step A is to assassinate the 5th Hamas or Iranian leader. This is specifically why the CIA and their Mossad have assassinated a number of Iranian nuclear scientists, is because this is to foreshadow that an assassination of an Iranian or one of their colleagues will trigger nuclear war. So step A is to stage the 5th assassination. Step B will be a false flag Russian-Israeli attack on Israel that will basically be basically a version of Juniper Oak, which was a joint Israeli-U.S. Military exercise executed in January and September of last year, I believe. And basically, it's a joint U.S.-Israeli operation with, I believe, 140 planes and like 12 ships. So this is basically what they're going to do, is they're going to stage an assassination of an Iranian or Hamas leader, and then within 24 hours or so, they're going to stage a revenge attack under the guise of an Iranian attack, and they've been saying in the media for the last week that they're going to attack yesterday on Tush B'Av, which is this Jewish holiday. But and I'll get into the dates, the most likely time of the dates, or of the attack. But basically, what they're planning on doing is Juniper Oak Live, which is going to be a joint U.S.-Israeli airstrikes and on Israel, which they'll blame on Russia. Then Israel will attack Iran. That's step C. And then step D would be an Iranian attack on Israel, right? And then step E would be a joint U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran, targeting their nuclear program, and then a full-scale Russia-Chinese attack on the United States and Israel. So that would be World War III. So it's basically a tit-for-tat, 6-step plan to trigger World War III. Essentially, what they're trying to do is a modern version of the Six-Day War. So, although only conjecture, it's highly likely that this escalation will commence on the 19th of August, and then the prime time, which will likely feature nuclear attacks in the United States, Israel, and or Europe, will likely commence during the DNC conference, and then they'll probably cancel it due to the war. So exactly when this particular plot will be executed is obviously not known, but it's most likely going to happen on the 14th of August. And I'm going to do a quick calculation on my phone, but essentially Kamala Harris became the official nominee for the Democratic Party on the date of July 21st. And her vice president, Tim Walz, became the official vice president of the Democratic ticket on August 5th. So it will be exactly 24 days on the 14th of this month, which is tomorrow, August 14th, will be exactly 24 days since Kamala Harris became the official nominee, and exactly 9 days since Walz became the vice president candidate. And I'm going to give you the perfect calculation here. So basically, the number 24 is the letter X, and then the number 9 is the I, and that forms IX, which is 6 points, which is the Israeli star. And Kamala Harris's husband is a Jewish Zionist, and basically they're planning on using her and Kamala Harris and the Walz regime to basically a modern version of the neocons to basically trigger World War III. So the most likely day would be the 14th of August, which is the 915th month of Israel's existence. So essentially what we have here is we're going to have a merging of the two wars, major wars that are going on right now. So we have the Russo-Ukrainian war in Ukraine between NATO, Ukraine versus Russia, and then we have the Israeli-Hamas war. And so what they're trying to do is marry the two, and that's precisely why Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is in Moscow today, because this is designed to basically foreshadow that Russia's going to be in defense of Palestine and with Iran in the wake of these impending events that are going to take the world to a very, very dark place. So basically we have the first Jewish state, which is Switzerland, which was formed circa 1309. Okay? They run the world through their CIA, which is in Geneva. Then you have the second Jewish state, which is called Jewish Autonomous Oblast, JAO. It's in eastern Russia, above Japan. And the flag of this is the rainbow flag, which you see everywhere, the gay flag, if you like, the LGBTQ flag. So this is the controlling entity of Moscow. And then you have the third Jewish state, which is Israel, which is formed in 38. So you have 1309, 1938, and 1948. And so these are three Jewish states, and this forms the Illuminati, the eye that I mentioned earlier. This is how they're running the world, essentially. And so what they're planning on doing is having Russia come in defense of Israel, but it's going to be a false flag Russian aerial attack on Israel in the aftermath of this next assassination, which I previously mentioned. And so the reason why is that they're trying to merge these wars is to basically get the support for Ukraine and the support for Israel. And it's imperative to note that both of these regimes, so you have the Israeli regime led by Zionist Benjamin Netanyahu, a Jewish Zionist, and then you have this Russo-Ukrainian war led by, on the Ukrainian side, by a Jewish Zionist named Volodymyr Zelensky. And then above Putin, you have the Jewish Autonomous Oblast that's controlling Russia. So it's all Jewish, it's all World War III, and it's about ready to happen. And the reason why they're warring in Ukraine and Israel is because on the Israeli-Jordan border, it was constructed under the guise of the Dead Sea Project. The water project is one of the world's largest reservoirs of VX nerve gas. It's called the VX nerve gas stockpile. And so basically once a war breaks out, full-scale war with Iran breaks out, they're going to release this gas into the skies of the Mediterranean. It's going to kill millions of people. Likewise, in Ukraine, you have Lake Azov in Crimea, Ukraine. It's also a man-made lake similar to the Dead Sea, and it is also home to one of the world's largest stockpiles of VX nerve gas, and they plan to release this into the skies of Eastern Europe, similar to Chernobyl. So essentially what the CIA is planning on doing with this massive World War III terror operation is they want to forego the democratic process in the United States with Kamala Harris, who, as I mentioned earlier, I believe that there's a revolution about to happen in the Democratic Party because they don't like having this DEI candidate, Kamala Harris, being forced upon them. So come the convention in Chicago on August 19th through 22nd of this year, there's going to be a coup, if you will, an organic grassroots coup against this forcing of Kamala Harris, and the Democrats will likely be forced to choose a different candidate. So the CIA is trying to circumvent this process and basically nullify the democratic process in the United States of this convention by basically starting a full-scale war in the Middle East. And once that happens, Joe Biden will be neutralized, and then Kamala Harris will become president. And like I said, she's just a puppet for the Zionist neocon establishment. So they want to basically knock out the Democratic National Convention, likely be canceled or postponed. Then they're going to neutralize Trump, most likely under the guise of a national emergency. That's why they staged the assassination attempt on him. They're trying to scare him out. And they'll most likely kill him or arrest him in the immediate aftermath of this because he will naturally speak out against the war. And then they want to trigger World War III, a full-scale World War III. They tried to do this during the Olympics and they were unsuccessful. And so now they're planning on executing this just prior to or during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. So just to recap, the CIA is planning on staging World War III by the day of August 22nd, 2024, most likely starting with a tit-for-tat escalation between Israel and Iran, and then naturally United States will come in on behalf of Iran. If you want to know if you want any confirmation that Israel is controlling the United States, all you need to do is look at the logo of the U.S. State Department, which is a Star of David. So that gives you all you need to know as confirmation as far as like who's running the show. So basically, the CIA is it's 100% certain that the CIA is going to stage a CBRN related event in the Middle East or Eastern Europe by the date of August 22nd, 2024. It's 100% certain that the CIA is going to execute one or more Iranian or Hamas leaders to trigger World War III by the date of August 22nd, 2024. And it's 100% certain that the CIA is going to stage World War III by the final date of the Democratic National Committee Convention in Chicago, Illinois on August 22nd, 2024, specifically to nullify the Democratic Party process and to knock out Donald J. Trump and trigger World War III. And so in the event that any of the aforementioned events transpire in reality, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, international, and national media outlets. And lastly, in closing, I just want to say that I just published a report for a Russian attack on London. And in the wake of this, it appears that this same... so basically, Russia is basically a country which does not do a lot of offensive... if you look historically at Russia, aside from the incursions in Ukraine, which they consider a NATO proxy war, Russia is relatively unoffensive, historically speaking. So what the CIA is planning on doing is there's a number of NATO drills and joint U.S. military drills, one of them being Juniper Oak. And they're basically planning on staging a false flag U.S.-Israeli attack, which I previously mentioned was on London. And they plan on doing this in the Middle East or Ukraine, as I previously mentioned, to basically trigger World War III. So they would say that it was MiGs, and that's why the MiGs look eerily similar to the F-15, and that's why all these different planes and warships from different countries look eerily similar, so that they can masquerade as another country. So it's imperative to note that that's how this war would start, is that they're trying to basically merge these two wars. That's what the trident symbol is. It's basically two wars becoming three. So you have this trident symbol. So you have two wars. You have the Ukrainian war, you have the Israeli war, and then they're going to merge to become the third war, which is World War III. So this is basically what they're planning on doing. And it's imperative to note that it's all Zionists. It's Zionist Zelensky, it's Zionist Netanyahu, and it's Zionist Kamala. They're all colluding, backdoor rooms, deals, and they're trying to get this war launched before the convention date, because the CIA has essentially millions of Democratic delegates that are refusing to support Kamala because she's a warmonger, a Zionist, and she is not obviously fit for office. She can barely hold a conversation, which is precisely why she has yet to take a news conference since declaring her candidacy for the 24 presidential election on July 21st. So she hasn't even held one single news conference, because this woman doesn't know up from down, left from right, and she can barely articulate sentences in a congruent manner. So they're basically trying to hide her like they did Biden until they get this war started, and then she will just become the Zionist mouthpiece for the administration. So anyways, I'm praying for a peaceful, we have 6 days left until the election, or excuse me, until the convention. And so this is a hyper critical time period in American history, because they're basically trying to knock out three birds with one stone. Knock out Trump, install Kamala, and then trigger World War III. At that point, they'll probably institute the draft, declare martial law, and it's going to be a wrap. So obviously that cannot be allowed to happen. So I am praying for a peaceful week. Peace.